Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm not able to see you, unfortunately, since I'm presenting the screen. My name is Mariana Lam. I work at Data for Development. As you can hear, I'm French. I hope my accent is not too much trouble for you. I'm with my colleague Anna de Vries. She's also working at Data for Development. And basically we are working with NGOs and guiding them through digitalization process and data projects. We're going to see in more details through this presentation also what we do at Data for Development. I'm going to ask you to keep your phone next to you because we are going to do some quizzes. So you are allowed to have your phone next to you. For the objective of the session, we are going to see some points related to open data. What's the use of it, how it can be useful for NGOs, how to use it more. We are going to talk also about IATI, the open data standard. And we are going to present you during this session the tool that we have been creating with another Dutch company, which is called Zimmerman. So the open data company is a joint venture with Data for Development and Zimmerman. We're going to present you with this tool that will allow you to analyze your data. And also there's going to be some interaction during the session. So get inspired from your colleagues or your peers in data analysis that some are used to do and to get more inspiration on this. Okay, so about the agenda, as I said, we're going to start with the open data and delving a bit deeper into a specific standard, which is IATI. I'm going to talk more about this later on. So no worries if you don't know what it is. On the second part, I'm going to present the tool that we have been creating, the AIDA portal. And I'm going to follow with, for whom this platform is, how you can use it, how you can find your way around the platform. So we're going to do a bit of exploring and digging together. The questions, you can ask them anytime. Please don't hesitate to interrupt me. So please take your phones. I'm going to ask you to go, so on your browser, you can go on www.menti.com and you're going to be asked to enter a code. So I'm going to give you a bit of time to do this. Okay, is everyone there? I'm just going to switch to the other screen to see. I see only 8 people. Putting back the code. Okay, is everyone there? Maybe you can put a thumbs up on Zoom. Okay. Okay, not everyone. I'm gonna give a couple of minutes. Thank you. On Menti, you should see my screen, basically. Okay, I see people are joining. Okay, let's start. So it's not gonna be, yep. Okay, you should have on your phone now the first question. So you can tag, you can write down your answer. Researcher, consultant, advisor, researcher, communication advisor, meal advisor. Nice to meet you all. Impact facilitator. Okay, more coming up. Lecturer, controller, data curator. Oh, really different people here. That's nice. Great. Okay, I'm going now to go to the next question. Okay. How familiar are you with open data? We have 3 experts so far. Okay, 5. I used it a few times. Okay. Nice. Hopefully at the end of the session, the people on the left of the graph will maybe move to the red box. Hopefully. All right, great. And the last question is an open question, so you can write down. So the question is, what is the use of open data in your organization? So it is written as Q&A, but you can add a free text. And I will show the answers. You can also like answers that you see from other people. So now I can see 4 likes for share knowledge. I have 3 likes for find out what others are doing. And you can also enter new options. Okay, I have a 3rd one. Supplement our in-house data. Can I apply this to our organization? This is a question. Research. Make common decision within program alliance. Yes. We publish all data openly. How to use open data for academic research. 1 like for this. Supplement, we already saw this one. Okay, great. Anyone else would like to say something about the type of answer that we are having? We're going to see this more into details later on, but just in case someone has something urgent to share with everyone. No? Okay. Then keep your phone next to you. You're going to use it soon. I hear my echo. No, it's okay. It's gone. Great. Okay, so about open data. So I'm going to talk about certain type of open data. You're going to understand what just in a minute. So open data, how an NGO can reach more impact with open data in general. So you have different level, micro, micro. Usually it helps develop a higher degree of trust in the NGO. So the more open you are, the easier it is to look at what you're doing and also track and follow what a specific organization is doing. At macro level, it also helps to create database for, you can categorize your database based on what you're looking at or what your NGO is working on, specifically on region, global database, partnership, funding, innovation. It's also improving program sustainability and integration with other partners. So obviously when you are sharing more information, as we saw in the question just before, it is easy for other organizations to look at what you're doing and maybe reach out more easily because you're working on the same type of project. And so it's easier to exchange about it and probably working together in the future. So intervention data helps improving program design at country, regional, and global level. And indeed, it offers vital insight for also smaller NGOs, also medium size, because more donors will be able to understand the type of work that you're doing. And so it will also be easier for them to assess the level of transparency of your work, and it will be easier then to get, for instance, new funding for future projects. And so open data, as I said, more in a general way. And now we are going to delve deeper in a more specific open data standard, which is IATI, the International Aid Transparency Initiative. So I believe you need to take your phone again. So please take your phone. Just 1 second, I will move to the other presentation. It's not this code. You just have to, yes. Okay. Okay, so you can go still to www.meti.com and enter this code. So the following question might not be suitable for all of you, especially researchers, because I believe, well, I might be wrong, but you might not publish in IATI. So maybe you won't be able to answer some of the question. Okay, I'm just waiting for everyone to join. Okay, let's move to the first question. So what is the level of your knowledge when it comes to the IATI standard? Okay, so we have different possibilities. Yes, okay, beginner, no knowledge at all. That's good to know. Intermediate and one expert. Okay, next question. So who is doing the reporting in your organization? So probably there might be some people who won't be able to answer this question. Maybe for some people who answered a combination of departments, is it a combination of finance department and PMEL, or are there any other departments involved? If someone who answered a combination of department can answer me or in the chat, probably finance and PML, finance and PML. Okay, great. Thank you. Another one, finance, PML, and program manager, directors, yeah, in a small organization. Okay, we can move to the next question. PML, great. Okay. And this is the same type of question as last time. So after publishing, do you use IATI data? If yes, how? And if no, why? So you can enter your question. You can type it on your phone. No, it's too aggregated to give any good insights. So you would like it to be more separated? I don't know who said that. We can discuss it later, but if you would like to speak now. It's not as detailed as our internal reporting. Okay. We only submit because of MOFA requirements. Yes. I do not understand your question. Okay. So I was asking, after you publish your data in IATI, if you are an organization publishing in IATI, how do you use then this data? Because after you publish, you have certain tools that allows you to analyze and visualize your data. So if you're publishing, then what are you using to use your data? Which type of platform do you use? And if you don't publish, then, if you don't use your data, then why? Why you don't use it? Now we use our own system, the criteria and the way of showing in IATI is not very useful for us. It's very general. Okay. So I believe all the comments are expressing the same type of concern, meaning that it's too general or too aggregated, then it makes it difficult to apply it. I will ask you some question later on, but maybe it's just good for you to think of it. Which type of level of details would you like to have? What type of combined data you would like to analyze? Or is it a particular activity, only one activity? Or is it, I don't know, on a specific period, see the change, see the funding flow of a particular donor to a specific country, for instance? Maybe you can think of that and we'll come back to this later on. I don't find IATI to be very user-friendly to navigate. It's too aggregated to give any good insight. Okay, I think we have seen, I use data, but not IATI. My way of analyzing plus publishing is Shepherd Notebook, Pandas, and My Manager. Okay. Be curious to hear more about this. Okay, I think we read all the comments. Great. Thank you, everyone. You can put your phone aside. There will be another quiz, but later on, so it's okay for now. All right, so there were some people who do not know what IATI is, sorry. So I'm gonna briefly present it, just so everyone is on the same page. Here you go. So IATI, so the International Aid Transparency Initiative, was launched in 2008, and on the basis of it was launched voluntarily by multiple stakeholders, and the aim was to address the challenges of gathering different types of data published in different ways by all the nonprofit sector. So the idea was to, what you were saying before, but being able to aggregate the data under the same language, under the same standard. So it's easier then to understand where the money flows, which type of sector receives more funding, which country is receiving more funding for which type of project. So the IATI standard was created to be able to aggregate this type of data and to make then easier analysis, because everyone would then publish in the same way, according to the same rule, according to the same standard. So the IATI standard is an open data format used to promote transparency and accountability in international development and humanitarian aid projects. So it brings together the donors and the recipient countries, civil societies, all the different experts in aid information, and enhance the level of transparency and openness of the data. So then, as I was saying, you have more accountability than that is then brought by this standard. So IATI has been, just to give you a bit of a context as well here. So IATI is meant to bring transparency, accountability, and to help people who would like to know more about a specific activity in a specific country or the activity of a specific NGO to have more access to information and to be able to read this information. So this is what the IATI standard means. But often by the NGOs, perceive it more as a black box, they don't really know how to use it. For them, it's more, as we saw in the quiz before, as a requirement, so something that they have to do, and it seems to be more a burden rather than something that can help them. And indeed, we don't really, in general, the requirement says, okay, you need to publish in IATI, but does not enhance neither the part of how to analyze and how to visualize your data, how to use the data that you are producing. And that is whole, useful, because for your own reports, for your own internal analysis as well, for further projects. So this part is still missing. So indeed, if you have many different organizations addressing different types of problem, you have different data that is then used to understand, collect, monitor the project. Everything, how you are measuring, how you are, all the transaction flow, all the monitoring and evaluation is then transformed to being understood by the IATI standard and then published online. And then it becomes open data. So you really have to understand IATI as a way of gathering the data of all the nonprofit organizations individually that are publishing individually, and that we give a common language, so it is easy to then understand that on an aggregated level what everyone is doing. Can you go back? Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I will go back. Okay. Then I have, okay. So as I was saying before, it might seem as a burden, as incredibly complex, but the idea of IATI is also a bit broader, in a sense that IATI is also used to align different departments within the organization. So IATI allows you not only to fulfill the requirements of your donor, but also to align internally and have then a more data-driven way of combining your data and using your data and improving your data. So IATI might be difficult at the beginning to understand because it's a different language, so you need to get used to it. And each organization have their own data culture and their own system, and it might be difficult at the beginning to merge and align everyone together. But this is an effort towards a potential use and improvement of your data that we're going to see later on with the data analysis tool that I will present you, that can only help your organization to be more data driven. So you have indeed the align internally, you have the different reporting requirements based on the different donors, institution, agencies, and then once an NGO has gathered all the data and enter it into this new language, there is a way of validating the data that, if you're interested, we can talk about it later on. This validator is linked to the IATI standard, And so it will enable those organizations to understand if they are publishing towards this standard or not. And when there is an error, it means that it's also harder to maybe aggregate the data afterwards. So this is a bit how IATI works. So it starts really internally, how to, which type of data to publish, according to which language, according to which requirements this NGO has to publish. And once it is online, it is enabled, we are able to use this data, come back to it after visualizing it, and then improve it. Any question on that part? Maybe in big it's better.
I saw a question in the chat from Anand.
Yes.
Hi, Marianne. Thank you very much. I have a question on this slide you were showing now. Actually, in essence, what you show here is the intention and the goal of IATI is to report to the donors. So there is also a kind of, how do you say, preference in the data that it's related to what donors want to know, because the financial input, the financial spendings, any kind of metric, what a controller, financial controller at their side wishes to know. But if you look at a grander picture of the existence of all organizations, Partos, the NGOs, there is this aim for development. And who is the target of this development? Those are, let's say, communities in the Global South. Sometimes the word beneficiaries is used. Is there any kind of transparency towards them or reporting towards them which can be beneficial out of IATI? Or is the whole system strategically not efficient for that?
Okay, I think my connection broke a bit. So if I'm reformulating your question, is there a way for the Southern partners to look at the data that has been published?
Southern partners and even the end users, so to speak, the beneficiaries of development projects. Is there any way of IATI having this spirit that the data can be aggregated, informed, transformed into information for them?
Yes, indeed. And this is what we will see in the second part of this presentation. So how to, where to look at this data? Because your question might be, where do I look, right? On which platform? How can I see this IATI data, right?
Maybe if you come further, then it will clarify a little bit on if the partner reporting involves this, that communities will know more about the project itself instead of the donors only.
Yeah, exactly. So I will show you later on how to look at this, but eventually it's a requirement from the donor, but the data is accessible for anyone to look at. So for instance, let's say that we have a project in Nigeria. I am part of an alliance with other types of NGO, and there is a local Nigerian NGO that is looking for, well, fund donors. So basically the idea is that IATI will enable this local NGO in Nigeria to find out who's working on this particular project that is interesting for this local NGO, and contact them and see what further collaboration they can do. So this is, for instance, an example of what IATI with this standard can be used for.
If I may add to that, Marianne, to Anand's question, yes, there is a large focus of IATI data as related to donor requirements, but this was not the original ambition of IATI. Originally, when it was created as an open data standard to increase transparency across the whole aid chain. The ambition was then also that organizations would freely start using the standard to publish what they do and for people to be able to also see what others are doing. But what you notice is because at some point it has been seen as, oh, it's more administration or it's quite complex because there are some technical rules towards it, that there was then a reluctance to start using the standard in such a way. Then at some point, there were certain larger donors who said, okay, we find this standard very useful for us to be able to use aggregated data and to see on a larger scale what we are achieving with our funding. And then they started making it a requirement for their funding recipients, which then moves IATI a little bit more towards donor required reporting. But if you look at the initial ambitions and also the way that IATI has been set up is actually more geared towards that end user transparency as well. And since it is an open data standard, the published data is not only viewable by donors on their donor portals, but on any public portal who pulls data from the IATI registry. So the portal that we're demonstrating today is able to pull all data from all publishers, whether they have been freely publishing or have done it because they've been required by donors, and any other portal would be able to do the same.
Thank you, Anna. So with this in mind, I want now to present you with the platform that we have created and really have a critical eye on the type of data that you will see just in a minute. So the Aid Information Data Analytics, the AIDA portal, has for aim to we aim to create a transparent world where we empower the use of data to drive change for a better future. And how we do this, it's by unlocking this whole, like the richness of this IATI data, and to use it to teach, not to teach, to help organization be more data driven, and to drive change in this connected world that might be difficult sometimes to, as we say, differentiate who does what, but also when there is a new language as IATI, which might not be easy to understand at first insight. So we try to, with this platform, to really enable a visualization of easy visualization of data. So what is AIDA? It's basically, as I mentioned, a visualization layer. It gathers all type of IATI data. So whenever there is a new organization who publishes according to the standard, then this data is automatically added on the platform. So far, there are more than 1,300 development agencies who are publishing in which are publishing in IATI, and it's over 1 million activities. So as I said, AIDA, it's really trying to unlock this potential and richness of data to allow anyone, to enable anyone to access it, use it, and search for anything. We will have a breakout room later on to enable you to start exploring the platform and to also look at which type of data you want to see. So AIDA is we're still adding more and more features to it. So I will also show you at the end of this presentation what we are working on and see how it can be useful for you. This includes the SDGs, but also some more features regarding how to create your own chart using the data that you want. This looks like an open map, an interactive map, where you can basically start filtering, add filters, and we will see later on how. But this you can basically click on the country and look at everything that is done in this country for a particular period. And I will just continue because I think the next slide, yes. So who can use it and how to use it? So if you remember at the beginning of the session, I asked you which type of position you had. We had in mind 3 type of person based on our experience. As I was mentioning at the very beginning, we are working with NGOs with dealing with this IATI open data standard. So we are used to work together on this IATI publication with a program manager, fundraiser, PML officer. So this is why we have identified those 3 personas. Obviously, you're not all represented, but you can as well search for the data you're interested in. And I'm just going to go through what is possible to look at for each persona. And then I will ask you to, well, in case you are a project manager and you want to add something regarding, well, the type of data that you would like to look at, please don't hesitate to say it. But basically, okay, for program manager, we often get the request to have a country view of similar projects. So where similar projects are happening. We also get the request that program manager wants to look at activities that are implementing in a specific countries, and also to see who are the donors and who are the implementing partners. So how does it look like on the AIDA platform? So this is the main page. I will show you a real example in the platform just after this. But so, you know, we have an aggregation here. So I'm not seeing your faces now, but I can guess regarding the type of comments that you said before. This type of aggregation is also subject to change, that we will enable more options. But just so you know, now the data will be aggregating regarding the outgoing commitment. But basically here, if I want to look at a specific sector, so I can select a sector here, water supply, and then I can select a period as well. And I will see all the countries where this sector has been worked on. And then I can select a specific one. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I did. Okay, sorry. Okay. Another possibility, so as I said, I can click on a specific country, and when I click, I get the list of all the activities in India. I selected India for the water supply and sanitation between 2000 and 2021. I can also see here among all of these activities, so there are 67 activities, 2 main donors, 4 organizations who have published, 15 sectors included, and the downstream partners, so the organization involved. If I click on the organization involved, I can see the type of organization. So if it's a government, and then when I hover above government, I can see which type of government is involved in that particular sector, in that particular country for this specific period. So this is what we have identified as important for a program manager. So I don't know if there is anyone here who has a similar position, who maybe would like to share the type of data that they're interested for.
Mariam, perhaps you can answer the question in the chat also. It's interesting, I think, for the whole group.
Okay. What is the difference between AIDA and the portal? Very good question, thank you. So apart from the fact that the creators are not similar, the portal is linked to the IATI secretariat. So it's their visualization tool where you can have a look at, where you can see basically the visualization of your IATI data per activity. So you can select your own activity, your own organization. You can also look at activities of others and check according to the different elements that IATI is requiring you to publish in. So I'm just going to show you quickly an example. So it's a more, it's still a visualization tool, but less flexible in a sense that you cannot analyze or combine data together. You can look at a specific donor, for instance. I can look at HIFOS and then get an overview of their activities. This is also possible on AIDA. For instance, there is 4 activities. And if I can, okay, I can select one in particular and look specifically at who is, for instance, working for that specific activity with HIFOS, and the policy marker, the sector, the countries involved, and the financial overview. So this is a specific visualization for an activity. On AIDA, the difference is that you can have more an overview of what is happening in a country, and then you can also have the same overview that the portal is offering you for a specific activity from an organization that you are interested in. So there is different type of visualization enabled on AIDA that is not yet maybe on the portal. I mean, it's not yet on the portal, but maybe one day, I don't know. Okay, if there is no oh, why is it doing this? Sorry. If there is no comment for the program manager, I would maybe propose to have a short break of 5 minutes, and then we can go through the fundraiser and the PML officer. And then you will have the floor to explore AIDA. Is that an idea?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's come back at 8 past 4. Yes. See you in 5. Okay, let's maybe resume. Everyone is back. Yeah, thumbs up if you're back. Thank you, Martina. Welcome back. So I think in the chat there was a question from Remco. Where are you getting the data from? So basically AIDA, as I was saying before, the idea is to use the richness of all IATI data. And basically all the publishers that are publishing in IATI are figuring out on the AIDA. So AIDA just pulls the information from all the publishers and puts it on the platform without changing it, basically. It's how the data is published, it is visualized on AIDA. And remember that there is this aggregation on the platform. As I mentioned, in the future, we will add more aggregation features. So it will be from an incoming commitment perspective or from different type of transaction flows. You will be able to break it down with different types of transaction. Let me just come back to the presentation. Okay, I don't know if everyone is back, but I will continue just with the other personas, and just after that, we will divide you in different groups. So you can look at your own data or what you're interested in. So regarding the fundraiser, we have, similarly to what we did with the project manager, we have identified what fundraiser might be interested to look at. So where donors are directed their funding to, which type of country, which type of project, which type of sectors. And on AIDA, how it will be visualized. So for instance, I have selected in my filters Uganda, and I can see that for this specific period, 2015-2021, I have an outgoing commitment, a total outgoing commitment for Uganda of around 10 billion US dollars. And I can see here on the different tabs that you have the total of activities, the total of donors, who is publishing, which type of sectors, and the partnering organization. And here again, you have a table visualization, and on the left, the list of the 317 donors. So for the ones who are not familiar with IATI, each organization which are publishing, they have their own IATI organization identifier. Again, why? Just if you're asking, it's just that you might refer to yourself, or people might refer to yourself using different spelling. So using an IATI identifier makes it easier for everything to be connected in the same way together. So for instance, this is the visualization of the donors in Uganda. Then if you want to look at the sectors, so I'm still in Uganda, I just changed the tab. I can see here all the sectors that have been funded by those donors in Uganda for the same period. Here, similarly to before, you have the list of the sectors. And when you hover above one color, you see more in details how much outgoing commitment has gone to a specific sector. And also here, you, just going back, I have selected donor here, a specific donor, and when I click on a specific donor, you can see his IATI organization identifier. You can see the list of the it's a graph of the different activities on a specific period. And you have a zoom on the global outgoing commitment of the Dutch MFA in Uganda over the years. Same question for fundraiser or similar roles. I don't know if we have any among the participants, but is there any type of data that for you it would be interesting to look at? Maybe there is a question in the chat. Or any follow-up question regarding the program manager as well?
Maybe I have a question to the rest of the audience, because I think many people indicated that a combination of different departments were involved in IATI reporting. And for Partos, actually, that's how it works. But we would have to communicate a lot between different departments. So maybe someone working for PMEL, the question is, do you have some interaction with, for example, the program officer or the fundraiser in terms of reporting? Like, what is the information that they would ask from you? I'm not sure if anyone can share something about that, people active in an organization.
I can. Yeah, I think it may depend. I'm sorry, I'm Mariana from Solidaridad Network. And personally, I think it depends a bit on how each organization is structured internally. And if it's a big organization or a small organization, if you have too many projects or if you have a few. But in our case, particularly, we are a global organization with offices in many different countries, with projects in many different countries. So actually, those that bring the information are the project managers. They communicate the information, the data on the different indicators we keep track of in our own internal monitoring system, which is compatible to IATI and the one that we use to report to IATI. But for us, what we look at is our internal management information system. The project managers are being supported to upload the correct data in our internal system by the PMEL staff in the different countries or regions. And then those, I mean, the PMEL people are those that make sure that they also make a quality check of this information in our system. And then from the network secretariat, let's say like that entity that provides services to the different offices around the world, we try to aggregate that information. And we also work together, I mean, from the PMEL perspective and also from the finance perspective. And we work together with our IT colleagues in order to put these things in the right sheets or forms or whatever we are using. Sorry for my ignorance about that, but that is what we use to publish in IATI and make sure that everything is showing in IATI, because sometimes if you, I don't know, if you have field blank instead of putting a 0, that doesn't show in IATI. So the IT department actually help us to make sure that everything is showing in IATI as it should or as we want to.
Thank you, Mariana. I think it's important to say what you just said, that, for instance, on AIDA, it really depends on what each organization is publishing. So indeed, if there is a blank space, then it might say like no data available, for instance, instead of having a 0 that will give an information. But maybe here, so on AIDA, we are already on the stage where we have published already, and we are trying to use the published IATI data, and so for organization to have another a visualization tool to enhance the type of analysis that you used to do with maybe your own monitor and evaluation system, for instance. So just to maybe refocus on that, like after your data is being published, how you are using it. And as we mentioned at the very beginning, since IATI has been felt as a burden and a black box and not really user-friendly to use it afterwards, AIDA comes here to really enable this kind of use of the data. So I'm really curious to see how, I mean, which type of data you will be looking at. But just to finish regarding the PMEL officer, so again, similarly to the other two personas, Mariana, you were talking about, yeah, the M&E more focusing on the project the project progress and the result progress, maybe within M&E having some people looking at the financial flows. So on AIDA, it's also possible to look at this. For instance, here I am on a publisher. I have selected AIDS funds as a publisher. I have selected a specific activity, and I have different tabs here, the financial and the performance. For the financial, you have also different type of visualization possible. You have the budget flow or the transaction view as well. So you can see how the budget has been depleted, what is the total incoming commitment, the total outgoing commitment. And when you click on a specific card here, you see how it has been over time spent. On the budget flow here, you see also the relation with the other participating organization, which is the donor, the organization itself, and then the partner. So, and when you hover above it, you can see as well how much fund has been sent to a specific partner. And here, just to finish on the transaction flow, you can see here also a bit similarly to what the portal is doing as well, a kind of graph where you can follow a specific transaction type. So here it's the expenditures over time. As well, for the M&E officers, you have this performance overview. So again, this is after that your data has been published, how to use this overview in your own analysis to check the performance of a specific activity, yours or another organization that is working in the same type of sector and the same type of projects. So maybe Mariana, I don't know if, I don't want to target you, but regarding what you described before, is there, how would you envision the use of your data after looking at what is possible to do on AIDA?
Yeah, well, to be honest, we work very hard, and we are still working very hard on our own management information system, because, yeah, as I told you, I'm coming from the big organization perspective, so we have a global network, so it was very hard for us to make everyone aligned in the understanding and the monitoring and the tools we use. So that is already hard work in a big organization. We took the opportunity of our multi-annual strategic plan that started last year to develop a whole data model. So we developed some key performance indicators at network level. So something that is key in different result areas for the whole network and for the next 5 years. And we also, behind these indicators, we develop a data model that says what kind of things or what kind of data do we need for those indicators. For now, our own internal monitoring system, internal management information system allows us to keep track of these indicators. And what we are doing now is to try to connect our internal management information system to the granular data, we call it, or the rough data that it comes from the different projects. Mm-hmm. That is something that is not accessible for us, even in our own information system. So we have worked that out based on our theory of change, on our multi-annual strategic plan. We have worked hard with the global M&E team to develop these indicators, to develop the data model of these indicators, to start monitoring more at the granular level, and to connect our own system to the different databases that they are using in different countries, because not all of the countries have the same possibilities to use databases. So we are really working hard on that. I see the struggle for the donors to have something similar, even at donor level, which is even higher level. But I can tell you that from our own experience, I don't see much, how can I say? I expect that we can use at least our own management information system that allows us to not be data driven, but data informed, as we discussed the last session. And we are making good progress on that, and it took us a lot of work. But when I see these initiatives at the global level that come from the donors, I really wonder what is how the organizations can really make use of that. Because as I was saying in a previous comment in the chat, different organizations may have the very different theory of changes with the different logics and different things they are more interested in. So aligning all these things, I'm not saying it's impossible. We did it in the network, but I see it's something that takes lots of discussions. And as one of the participants here was saying, this was kind of, or seems to have been kind of hijacked by the donors to have a closer monitoring or good track of the finance, and what they like for accountability reasons more than for learning purposes. So yeah, I still wonder about the use we can make as organizations of this kind of portals. Still, I see it's much user friendly than IATI, and that is already a big improvement.
Good to hear. Maybe we can come back to your comments right after we have this division of group, because maybe you will be able to delve deeper into maybe different types of data and to see how it is used on AIDA, but I'll keep in mind so we can come back to it later on. But yeah, now I would like to give you a bit of time. Just I wanted to create those breakout rooms and to let you go to the AIDA platform. So maybe Anna, can you write down the AIDA.tools so everyone can go on their browser. And I can create the breakout rooms. Yes, here. Okay. So I will let you choose your own room. I will just, based on your job title, you can join one. So if I remember well, we have researchers, we have M&E, and also business controller. We have project program manager. Yes, okay. And we have, I don't think we have any fundraiser, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, maybe we can start with those 3 breakout rooms. So researcher, lecturers, consultant, more for the first breakout room, then M&E and controller in the second, and the third one can be for program managers or similar roles. I will pass by in each of the breakout rooms, and the idea is for you to go on the platform and start to look at, to filter out and start to look at the data you are looking for or interested to look at, and see how it looks like on the platform. So you can choose your own breakout rooms, and I will pass by in each one of them. Thank you. Okay. We still have, Theo. I don't know if is it updated? Yes. Theo, Lily, and Mariana, did you find your breakout room?
No, where do we find it?
Normally it should pop up, or you have a little number on the bottom of your screen. with breakout rooms.
We can also assign you if you want to.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I should go to the PME probably, but I don't see any number or pop up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, thanks.
And then
I think
yeah.
Theo is the only one who moved to program manager.
Okay. It's not, but I see him on the main screen. Is it normal?
I'm not sure because it says not joined, so maybe Theo is moving from this space to the other one. Or Theo is not, maybe Theo is not present on the other side. I don't know. Should we join the other rooms? Or should I?
Yeah, you can. In which one are you interested in, Gigi?
Most interested in M&E. There are 2 people at the research department, so maybe it's good to have a look there. Some of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will go. I will.
Okay. Perfect. Maybe if possible, when they come back, that we ask them to all keep their screen sharing or their video sharing open to have more interaction for the closure, if it's possible, and if their connection allows it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. See you.
Yeah. Okay.
Marianne, just
We are
quickly.
still being recording the session.
Oh yeah, good. I'm not sure. Wait, let me just check this. Right, 1 second.
So I hope you had fun in your breakout session. I don't know if maybe someone wants to share. So I was with Peter and Lo, but from the M&E group, I don't know if someone wants to share something regarding their findings on AIDA.
I think among ourselves, the best researcher was Hans, who directly started executing everything, which was brilliant. So thank you again, Hans. And yes, and I think maybe, yeah, our experience was that we were fine. If I can speak for our group, I think we were firstly trying to find out the way how it works. So we were filtering things, searching for the specific things. But one of my observations or our observations was that we needed to have a specific concrete information that we were to know actually what we are searching for. This was one of my observations, and I think that we experienced it. I don't know if somebody else from our group, Hans, Mariana, there was Victoria, Lily as well, would like to mention.
Yeah, thanks. I think you summarized it well. I found the visuals nice, so it was attractive. It included a lot of clicking, and that's because you have to slice and dice. Yes, I think that's unavoidable. And I don't know how much time we had in the breakout group. We got a nice discussion. It focused also about the use of IATI. And the sector split, if it was useful for us as NGOs, this type of thing. So it was broader than only the tool.
Great. I will maybe in relation to what Martina said, I will be able, if you would like me to, send you a dashboard tour of how the platform works so you can follow and a path to see where it leads you and then repeat the same information for your own project. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. That's short. I wanted to still share with you some things, but I'm going to cut it a bit short, and then I will send you the presentation. So if you like to look at it again.
Marianne, sorry, is it possible to hear as well from your group? Because we just what were the observations of the other group? This would be, I think, at least for me, it would be interesting to hear as well.
Yeah. So I was in the researcher group, Peter and Lau, if you want to share. They were interested in another type of data, let's say. So I don't know if you want to share it.
No, yeah, the problem of the point is that you have managed a very interesting collection of data. You are harvesting the data, whether you are pushing it or pulling it, I don't know, but from many sources, you are combining and aggregating the project data in a certain format. And we would like to go the other way around. You can explore using the AIDA tool, you can explore and play with the data. Or if you want to search for something specific, then you can search that. But if you want to go through all these data and make a certain automatic selection, then that is not possible. And in fact, both of us had a need to have a backdoor to go to the data directly and to forget the AIDA as an interactive instrument, but to have our computer browse around and pick the data that we need for further research or whatever. That was more or less the topic that we brought in. Correct me, Lau, if you are still there and if I'm not correct. Oh, you are still there.
You are fully correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will be for sure able to continue this conversation. If you want maybe to leave your information on the chat, or your contact details maybe, or email, so I can send you the dashboard tour, or I don't know if there is any other way to share this information. We don't want to violate any privacy issue. Thank you. Great. So just to finish, because we have just a couple of minutes, but I will share then with you this presentation and you will be able to check what I wanted to show you. So in AIDA, this is also a new feature to come. We will have the chart builder, and the chart builder will basically enable you to visualize to combine, the data in the way that you want, and then hence visualize it as well. So you can, here there is a video that you can follow. It's not yet on the live version, but it will come very soon in the next quarter, where you can select the data that you want to pull out from the system, and then select the type of graph, select the colors, customize it. So this would be enabled soon. And another also prototype on what we are working on is the integration of the SDGs, which is also something interesting to add to the IATI data, since some organizations are also using SDGs to track their progress. So this is also something that, just to give you a timeline, will come after the chart builder, but so you have an idea. And there is a question. Yes, Martina, you have a question?
Yes, just a quick question. Is it, or I can just wait as well for the end? It depends on you. Okay, so it's here. Okay, great. I'm just wondering, first of all, very practical question. AIDA is for free, or is it paid? And other thing is, who is behind AIDA, if I say it like that? Is it a certain organization, or who is gathering all those data and where those data are actually stored? Yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
Thank you. So basically, AIDA was created by the Open Data Company, and the Open Data Company is a joint venture of the company I'm working in, so Data for Development and Zimmerman. We don't own any data. The real owner of the data are the publishers, the IATI publishers. So when an organization publishes in IATI, it goes to a data store, and AIDA pulls this data from the data store. So again, we are not responsible on how the data shows online, because this is how the publishers have been publishing their data. This is how the organization have been publishing their data. Yes. Question.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other question? Because we are arriving at the end of the session. And I think Gigi needs a couple of minutes. Sorry, Gigi.
No, that's fine. Any other questions? Otherwise, I have one remaining question.
Yes.
I was just wondering that the final interactive visualization elements that you showed, are these still being developed? Because I couldn't see them in the website. And I think what we were looking for, a couple of things like more visualization. So not only in terms of ranking or ordering the data, but also having it visualized in front of you. And another thing which I really liked was the point from Victoria about seeing a lot of quantitative data, but a lot of reporting is also on the basis of qualitative data that comes from outcome harvesting, et cetera, et cetera. I think for many organizations looking for understanding how their outputs or impact relates to other programs and how that can be compared, how they can basically learn from that information. It was quite difficult to find it, if not maybe even present in the current system of how, or the current way of how data was visualized in the performance area. So yeah, two questions. First is visualizations, is it still work in progress? And the other one, what about qualitative data?
Yes. So the visualization, so the SDGs and the chart builder and still the performance review are still under implementation. So especially the chart builder and the SDGs are not yet enabled on the platform. For the performance review, so the result that you could see, the outcome, the output, the impact, etc., it is now enabled as it is published in IATI, but we are also working on it to improve it even more. We have also, I think that was the question of Peter before when we were in the session, in IATI, some organizations are also publishing documents where you have more qualitative information. And this also depends if an organization publishes it or not. But in regards to what you were, so your second question, Gigi, for the impact of different organizations working on the same activity or the same sector, the same project, this is still under implementation. We are really working on it now. So you can only see for now what's enabled on the platform. But in the future, we want to enhance this impact aspect.
Perfect. Thanks for explaining. Then I'll just move on to a closure. Just wanted to, am I sharing the right screen actually? Are you able to see my?
The events, the
events, yeah. So the only thing I wanted to say is there are a couple of events coming up, and maybe also linked to this, because what I've noticed is that there is basically a need among people, organizations using data, using IATI to understand how it can be more useful for their own their own daily projects and programming. And each month within Partos, we focus at a different element of the digital principles that have been introduced in the beginning. And this month was really focusing on being data-driven or being data-informed. The next month we'll be focusing on designing with the user. And I think that this is also a nice takeaway for this session, that in any of your digital enabled programs or data informed programs, it's important to design with the end user, because otherwise the final product may not really be beneficial for your daily practice. And I think that next month we will have a lot of interesting events that focus more on what this human-centered design principle or designing with the user principle actually means. So you're really invited to come and join that. I think it's also an open invitation from Data for Development on continuing to build on improving the user experience of this application. So if you're interested, I think it's definitely nice to join that group. The other dates, you can find it on the website. Maybe the last thing that I would like to say is that this discussion around IATI is a very relevant one, and I'm really content with the discussion level, also the critical questions that we've had about the use of IATI, and also to be mindful of why we are using it, and if we need to change the way it is currently being applied and being demanded within our programs. So very happy about that. Lastly, if you would like to be engaged with us, you can find us in many ways. You can send me an email. You can be informed in the community of practice on data and digitalization for more active involvement. Maybe also if you would like to organize something, or if you have interesting topics within your projects that you would like to share within this space, there is we have the space available, so make use of it. And if you also would like to share any blogs, or if you have any promotional material that you would like to share with us, that could also be done through our Partos Media House. So hereby I would like to end the session, and I would like to thank all of you. I think I also, of course, would like to thank Marianne and Anna for giving this wonderful presentation. Thank you. And the participants for being here with us. I'm still here if you have any remaining questions, but for now, I think the session is closed.